Hey everybody, Rosemary here, and welcome to part 10 of my House in Fata Morgana Let's Play. The last episode was wild. It was the moment you guys have been saying in the comments you've been waiting for me to get to because a lot of stuff has come out. It turns out that the story of the fourth door was fabricated. It was kind of like a flowery, romanticized version of what actually happened. And we found out the identities of both the master and the maid. So the master is Michelle, and the maid is Giselle, who, in the fabricated story, the white hair girl said she was Giselle, and it turns out that that was actually the maid. So it opens up a lot of questions about stuff that's going on, like what was up with the white hair girl throughout all of the other stories. You know, who was that? It's I'm still confused about some things, but we are now getting into the fifth door, the actual story of what happened, the true meeting between Giselle and Michelle. And it turns out that Giselle was an Abigail from Michelle's home, sent, I'm guessing, as some sort of punishment to live in the mansion with him. And their relationship is rocky, to say the least. It ended in Michelle and Giselle kind of having an altercation. He doesn't trust her. She's being kind of dodgy about why she is at the mansion, and Giselle wants to know more about Michelle, but he's not telling her anything. So yeah, I'm super excited now that we're at this part where we're getting some answers. I want to know okay, let's find out some more. Let's see how the story unfolds between the two of them. So without further ado, let's get back into the story. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my third week living in the mansion was drawing near. Michelle wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me, but there was little point in asking when he seemed to think there was little point in talking to me at all. Yes, it's very different from the white-haired girl and Michelle, where they seemed to fall in love decently quickly. There wasn't this animosity between them. I can see why the maid, why Giselle, she, painted this picture of it being much nicer. Although at first I'd been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me. The more time I spent in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it would only work for so long. This is definitely a more realistic way about it, where it's like the white hair girl, she never gave up, and eventually she got Michelle to open up, whereas Giselle, she's definitely more human, where it's just, it's very discouraging, I imagine. And obviously, Giselle, she forgot these memories for a reason. Maybe something did happen to her that she didn't want to remember. The one pretty place in the whole house. I'm glad he hasn't covered it back up. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, vainly illuminating some of the room. I hadn't noticed until now, but the room with the stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. Rows of pews faced the window, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it, though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted to the pulpit's front face. What was I assumed, formerly a cross? Upon further reflection, rather than facing the window, the pews seemed to be pointed at the pulpit, or perhaps the cross hanging on it. I wasn't sure why there'd be a chapel in a mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. A very well-made chapel at any rate. I doubted Michelle had had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. Okay, so he doesn't seem to be a religious person. I assume this is the family's house, if he was sent to it, so they're obviously seem to be quite religious. And there must be a reason why they used, the angel here was chosen. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. God. I'm not even sure if God really existed, then surely the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power. No senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. So, are we Are we gonna get into it this episode? Why was she sent to the mansion? I predicted something happened between her and somebody in that house. I would say, like, maybe the master of the house. Maybe they started a relationship, whether it was consensual or not. The wife found out, had her, like, basically banned from the house. Because something got kind of mirrored what happened with the white-haired girl's mother in the first door. Or not the mother, sorry, the father. I keep getting it mixed up, the father. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too. Or perhaps we simply had a false impression of him. It could be also she was sent to look after Michelle. Like, it could be related to Michelle. Maybe the family was worried about him, and they sent her away, and maybe she sees it as punishment, being sent off in, like, a mansion in the middle of nowhere. He didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world, or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers. Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? But still, it's not like I have any other options. Don't you worry. It'll all work out. Promise. I already know where I'm going to work. Okay, flashback time. It's a really prominent noble house, way out of reach of some small-time merchants like us. You never know. This could be my big break. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back onto our feet. Oh, for goodness sake, I can handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I'll be fine. Yeah, say bye to Mom for me. I probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm going to make some careless mistake? I'm not that airheaded. She did say she made like a little boo-boo or something. She made an oops. Maybe she did start a relationship with someone in the house and got punished for it. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? Ahem. How are you doing this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost of care. See? How about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? I was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop on the capital's main street. My father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by day to day after taxes, but we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then my sister fell in love with a moderately well-off aristocrat. Both my mother and I were supportive of her in her desire to marry, but their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Bollinger estate approached me. He said they were in need of Abigails and would love to have me. So okay, so you guys did tell me that I don't have to go back, thank goodness, into the backlog, because it was kind of like... So someone from the distinguished Bollinger, he said they were in need of Abigail. So I'm guessing it was somebody sent on behalf of, like, the masters of the estate, but I'm just like, this almost seems like she's being, like, groomed a little bit, maybe? It's just like taking vulnerable girls who are desperate need of money and bringing them in, and then I don't know. He said if I agreed to work for them, the Bollinger estate would take care of my family. Like, this is definitely someone with some power, maybe taking advantage of them. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other, lower-ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer. So I took it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance and accepted the offer. I just pray nothing bad happens to my sister. Like, Giselle seems... I like her. She's spirited. She obviously cares a lot about her family. And that mom is getting enough money to live comfortably. That's all I can do. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Ah. The light shining through the stained glass window began to grow murky, fading into blackness. It felt like a message from on high. That no, my prayers would not be answered. The bluish-white illumination shining down upon me disappeared as clouds blocked the moon. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. I wonder if maybe Michelle is listening in and maybe he'll take pity on her. We finished the episode last time. I think he said he was gonna write to home and find out, like, what she was there for. Yep, Michelle is there. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me. And she's saying sullied, too. Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. Giselle was sitting at one of the pews in the room with the stained glass window. I'm gonna... because sullied means, like, dirtied, right? I feel like... let me just check that really quick. So yeah, I checked it, and it did say sullied was, like, basically, like, somebody's, like, purity or something's purity is tainted. So, I don't know. It seems like maybe my guess might be potentially accurate. We'll see. Giselle was sitting at one of the pews in the room with a stained glass window. Just looking at her, you might have thought she was offering a prayer. But the words coming from her mouth were anything but prayerful. They were filled with resentment. They have plenty of money, a sullied woman. And then, I never asked to end up like this. So this is what's beneath that facade. Most likely, money's what she's after. All I need to do now is confirm my suspicions with them. Just what awful secrets will I uncover? I gave Giselle, sitting in the pew with her head drooped, a cursory glance before leaving the chapel. I had somewhere else to be. The bitterly cold outside air felt like dozens of needles flowing into my lungs. It had been so long since I had stepped beyond the mansion's walls. A thick mist canopied the night sky, blocking out the moonlight. Naturally, the heavens did not rejoice at my leaving the house. It had been 10 years since I had seen the mansion from the outside, and it hadn't changed one bit. A gloomy scar upon the earth, shrouded in darkness. Hardly the kind of place someone would enthusiastically approach. Nevertheless, it was better than that house. So something happened at his house, too. Maybe they'll find some connection between... Once he realizes, hopefully, whatever happened to her was not her fault. Maybe they'll connect with that, because, like, his family, did they ostracize him? He said that he, like, came here of his own volition, but I don't know about that. Yes? Who is it? Michelle. What? Michelle Bollinger? Just one moment. I'll be right there. Come in. It's a humble abode, but make yourself at home. Wow, I must say, this is rather unexpected. Just one word and I would have been up there in a heartbeat. And how was I supposed to do that? I am regrettably fresh out of carrier pigeons. He's like, not like we have phones in the Middle Ages. Ah, right, yes. My apologies. This man, living in a small cottage not far from the mansion, had been hired by the Bollinger family. His job? To watch over me. That said, we never actually interacted. He was tasked with keeping track of whether I was still alive, and whether I remained in the mansion. So the family obviously wants to keep him hidden away for some reason. And I doubt it's because of a witch's curse. The monthly package from my family was delivered to him, which he then passed on to me. It was insipidly convoluted, but it was indicative of how much they wanted to avoid anyone learning about me. Well then, what can I do for you? The manservant was visibly rattled. Afraid, too, but not because of the difference in our social ranks. I had a pretty good idea of what he had been told about me. He was afraid of me, Or more specifically, my curse. So let's peel this back a bit. The witch's curse is not actually a whole thing about, like, if he touches someone, they die. That's, I assume that's, like, some sort of, representation of something. I imagine in the Middle Ages, anything that makes you, like, different, would probably make you be seen as, like, cursed or something like that. So I'm just like, what is his deal? What is his deal? People fear that which they cannot comprehend. Not just children, adults as well. I mean, he does have white hair. He does have, like, I think, like, reddish eyes, similar to the white-haired girl. So, what's the connection there? Why did... they fear demons, witches, and curses, anything impure or not of this world. But I had long since gotten used to being viewed as such. I mean, in all of this, like, the stories with Michelle, they were saying about how... Or the white-haired girl. It was a whole thing about, like, because of the way you look. People fear you, people look down on you, so maybe that's the connection here? It didn't sadden me, it didn't disappoint me, it didn't pain me. Some things were too foolish to concern yourself over. Though it certainly doesn't make me feel good, either. I was, on some level, annoyed. That woman's appearance at the mansion had created ripples in my once tranquil life. So before I got into the real reason for my visit, I decided to take out a bit of my frustration. Raise your head. There's no need to be afraid. I don't know what you've been told, but I promise I don't bite. How rude of me. You're right. My sincerest apologies. Your job is to keep watch over me. If the mere sight of me has you trembling, what will you do if I try to run? I would have little trouble escaping. That would be quite unfortunate. What would I ever tell your mother? I'm not sure that would end well at all. You could lose everything you've been paid so far. In fact, you might be lucky to get out with your life. Surely your mother would not. You are aware of who you're dealing with, right? Man, Michelle's kind of a dick. Michelle, the cursed youngest son of the Bullinger family, who made a pact with the devil. I don't need a blade to take your life. You wouldn't even make it back to report anything. Is he just, like, fucking around with him because he said he wants to take his frustration out? Maybe he's just mad that this guy treats him like he's cursed, but still dick move. But I mean, Michelle has been trapped in a mansion for 10 years. I don't imagine his social skills are very good. Have mercy, Lord Michelle. Please do not leave the mansion. Please spare me. Only joking. Oh, you jokester. What? I don't have the power to kill by way of curse. The man fell silent, but the look on his face said, You are cursed, though, aren't you? Once someone's got an idea planted in their head, it's nigh impossible to get rid of it. I am so cursed that anyone can see it, that I need to be locked away in a dark mansion. I'm here because I had a question for you. Not to warn you I had planned to run away. A question? For me? Yes. Approximately 3 weeks ago, a black-haired woman came to the mansion. Tell me what you know about her. I was told there would be an Abigail coming, but that's all. I don't know anything else about her. I swear, that's all I know. I haven't been told anything else. I believe you. I never thought they would tell you anything. Right. He'd been hired to observe me, but that's all he was, a hired hand. He wouldn't be privy to the Bullinger family's internal affairs. Take this. A letter? I need you to deliver it to my mother. You could have just left it in the box from this month's package, and I would have collected it when I dropped off the next one. I am in urgent need of information. Will you do this for me? Yes. Why, yes, absolutely. I'll fetch a delivery boy tomorrow morning. Much appreciated. Good night. You too. Do take care. Lord Michelle? Yes? Is it true you don't have... Oh, would you like me to sew your mouth shut so you can never open it again? You don't have what? Oh, come on. Not at all. My sincerest apologies, Lord Michelle. That was horribly disrespectful. Good night. Ah, cursed I most certainly am. What doesn't he have? What? What? My mother's response arrived just 10 days later. Ooh, are we gonna get an answer? Are we? Please? The delivery boy must have pushed his horse quite hard. It was almost exactly a month after Giselle had moved in. And shortly thereafter, on a bone-chilling night, everything came crashing down. Oh shit. The rift between us grew deeper, and the wall between us impossibly high. When I lay bare, the scars in her chest, what? And mercilessly plunged my knife into them. Metaphorically. Metaphorically, right? Oh my gosh, I'm like so excited and anxious to see why she's here. And why it caused such more of a rift. How did we get to this point? I hate everything. My spirits were getting darker and darker, like they were slowly sinking into a deep morass. I had been at the mansion for a month, and every day since felt twice as long as it should have. I had been optimistic at first. I'd even had a little hope that me and Michelle could get along together. But it hadn't taken long for that hope to be shattered. And the cheer locked away inside me. We lived in the same house, but we never spoke anymore. On the few occasions we did cross paths, he just gave me a cold glare and nothing more. Scorn and suspicion in his eyes. Whenever he looked at me like that, it felt as though my throat was being constricted, like I was deep underwater and running out of air. Like my very presence in the world was a crime. So this was after, like, he learned about her, so there's something that he found out from his mother that just made him, like, despise her even more. I never could have imagined just how agonizing constant rejection was. I started despising others, despising myself, despising the world, convinced there was no one who could set me free. I considered running away from everything, rather than live like this another day, but I would have done so long ago if that were actually an option. They found out I had fled, and I had acted outside of their wishes. My mom and sister would pay. I had succeeded in allowing my sister to get married, and my mom to live comfortably. I had given them happiness. I couldn't take that away from them again. Not after what I had to go through to do it. Ooh, did she steal? Maybe. Maybe she stole from them and... But if that were the case, I was like, maybe she tried to get like a big payout. She stole some money, gave it to her mother and sister, was caught, and it was sent away. But I imagine if that were the case, the Bollingers would probably go to the mom and sister and get that money back. No, cut that out. Getting way too depressing, Giselle. Pull yourself together. That's not who you are. Be positive. The negativity didn't only come from my interactions with Michelle either. No, there seemed to be some kind of terrible presence within the mansion that twisted people's hearts. The mansion was, in fact, a bit of a local legend, which I had been informed about before being sent here. People claimed it was cursed, and that an evil witch had lived in it for many, many years. Michelle joked he was the witch, but I didn't believe him. I'm not usually one to believe in magic or curses at all, but being here so long, I can't help but wonder. Anyway, things can't go on like this. If I was to remain in this house, the situation needed to improve, a lot. I was going to lose my mind if things kept up as they were. I was ready to give up once, but I'm going to try closing the distance between us again. If I could get him to open up even the tiniest bit, then maybe that would make living here a little easier. I wasn't going to try and make us best friends or anything, just repair our relationship enough that being around each other wasn't torturous. Got my work cut out for me. How do I even begin that conversation? Heck, what is that conversation even going to be about? Maybe I should hold off, do it another day. No, I've made up my mind to do this, so I should get to it quickly. The longer I wait, the worse things are going to get. And eventually, there won't be fixing anything. We need to talk. We need to be in the same room for more than 10 seconds. And we need to get to know each other. He needs to know that he's not the reason I have something to hide. Okay, let's do this. So she's gonna, like, tell him, like, the truth about her, but, I mean, I assume he already knows. I made my way to Michelle's chambers, which he had told me to stay away from. This is like going back to the white-haired girl when she stood outside Except it went a lot nicer, where Michelle gave her the necklace and said that basically, like, he was in love with her. I imagine it's not going to go this well. My stride was slow and ponderous, but at the very least, I did my best to keep some semblance of a smile on my face. This is one time where I'd really like to have someone to give me a little nudge. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Pardon, Master? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Master? I guess he's not here. Oh gosh, he's gonna go in. Oh, he's gonna catch her. He's gonna be so mad. Oh, I wonder if this is the moment here where he said, where like it was like the rift between us grew even more because like she's gonna defy the one thing he told her not to do. The door wasn't locked, as was the rest of the house. His room was shrouded in darkness. The only light came from the candle in my hand. Master? Are you there, Master? Oh, girl, what are you doing? I guess I missed him. It's probably best if I don't stick around for long. He's already got a less than stellar impression of me. Like, I have a feeling eventually something will happen to make them, like, fall in love. Because there was the flashbacks here about the girl who has to be Giselle being in this room, being like, oh, you're so much, you know, you're not as bad as people say you are, you're a kind person. And then, of course, there's, like, the maid was looking for him for years. That was the whole thing where she said, like, she was waiting for him. So I assumed she wouldn't be looking for him if he was still an asshole to her. I don't want to imagine what will happen if he thinks I've been snooping through his room, so she's like, so I'm gonna do exactly that. Yeah, I should get out of here. I spun around on my heels, taking a step toward the door, when I caught sight of an object draped in a black sheet. No, you were so close. I knew I had to get out of there as quickly as possible, but I was intrigued by that object. Something he kept hidden in a room I was forbidden to enter. Maybe it was a clue to discovering Michelle's secrets. I reached my hand down toward the object, knowing good and well I shouldn't. Was it because I wanted to learn more about him? Was it because I wanted to tear down the veil he hid behind? Or was it the whispers of the witch? Oh. What do we have here? I pulled off the sheet, revealing a framed painting. That's right, he, like, destroyed the paintings, didn't he? He didn't want to see the paintings. Of what appeared to be a noblewoman with porcelain white skin. What stood out about her, though, was the woman's hair was as pale as her skin. And then... oh shit! It's the white-haired girl. What? I noticed something else. Wide gashes ravaged the canvas. Oh, that was him breaking it, damaging her face beyond repair. What the? I imagined it had once been a painting of a beautiful woman, but there was hardly a trace of that left. The one feeling it inspired anymore was a deep chill. This damage was not accidental. It was deliberate, angry, and the contempt emanating from within the frame was stifling. This is like Nell destroying the painting of the white-haired girl. Or destroying the painting of her and Mel and then discovering that the white-haired girl... There's these connections to the previous stories. Thick, suffocating blackness seeped into me. Why would anyone... She was surely a most beautiful woman. Angelic, even. A storm of questions assaulted me. Who was she? Why had her face been carved up? Why had the painting been covered? What had happened? Who could have... There's only one person who could have done this. Michelle. Why on earth? You saw it, didn't you? Uh-oh, here we go. You saw the painting, didn't you? Ah, you entered my room without permission, and you saw the painting, didn't you? Angelic, you say? There's nothing angelic about that damned woman. I scrambled to make some excuse, but nothing would come out of my mouth. All I could do was tremble. Oh shit. That's creepy. That's creepy. Why did you enter my chambers? Mitch... What were you looking for? Answer me. My mouth wouldn't move properly. I couldn't make my voice come out. It was like I wasn't even in my own body anymore. The wisps of air that were drawn into my lungs were expelled as hoarse gasps. My breaths were shallow and rapid. I was inhaling, but I wasn't getting any air. I was terrified. Terrified. Terrified, terrified, terrified. Of his eyes, of his voice, of his feelings, of the knife he was holding up to me, of the terrible past I was chained to. The man's voice, the man's very flesh, terrified me. What were you trying to find, and what were you planning to do with it? Answer me. Ah, another thing you refuse to tell me, then? No, I'm trying. Nothing's coming out of my mouth, though. Everything's so bright, and I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. That's fine, though. You don't have to tell me. I have a pretty good idea. An idea? What? What do you mean? Money is what brought you to the Bullinger estate. And it's what brought you to me, too. Oh, maybe she did steal some money. There are countless people who would love to see that house fall. And a noble family fears nothing more than disrepute. You were, I presume, approached by someone scheming the Bullingers' downfall. Oh, no. And as just so happens, the Bullingers have a very unfortunate secret. One they are quite desperate to keep under wraps. It's probably about him, right? Me, yep. Someone suspected I might still be alive, so they sent you to dig up information about me. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bullinger family. Michelle, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive. He's supposed to be dead, huh? You sweet-talked your way into that house, and into information about me and my present situation. And you meant to trade that information for money, and that's why he's, like, been keeping her so distant, is, like, he thought that she was, like, a secret agent or something? Like a double agent? I bet whoever it was put quite a handsome price on it, too. Or maybe the one plotting to ruin the Bullinger family is you. No, that's not true. Then enlighten me. Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you harm in any way, as you say, in the room you're not supposed to be in. And tell me, if that's not the reason you wormed your way into the Bullinger estate, and that's not what you're doing here, then tell me what is. Whatever it is must be worse than what he's saying if she won't tell him. Tell me why you came to this mansion. You want me to tell you about that? No way, that's asking way too much. Tell me. I swear, I haven't done anything to wrong you. I simply wanted to make our life together a little more comfortable, to bring some warmth to this frigid relationship we have. It's the only reason I wanted to find out more about you. I must assume I'm right then, Giselle. I must tell him he's wrong. I must tell him I meant him no harm. But I can't say anything. A merchant's daughter becomes an Abigail at a noble house? Could you come up with a more obvious lie? Your father's the one who... Oh! Yeah, I think I'm right. I mean, I've said a whole bunch of theories, but, like, the fact that she was seeked out specifically... Maybe the father had his eye on her and figured, like, oh, if I lure her into the house and say I'll give her money and, you know, make her family comfortable, I can do what I want with her. Wait, how does he know that I'm from a merchant family? You look perplexed. I may be imprisoned in this house, not free to move about as I please, but I have my ways. I know everything. Everything? And he knows about that too. Oh yes, I do know. That's assuming the mother is telling him the truth. Please, don't... In your quest for money, don't say it. Oh, shit. Called it. I don't think it was consensual, though, the way she's talking, the way she has, like... She's having, like, her... It almost feels like she's having, like, PTSD moments when, Michelle was, like, confronting her, and she said something like, I'm terrified of, like, his voice and his face, because maybe he looks like his father. And that's why she couldn't speak. You slept with my father. In that moment, Michelle plunged his knife into my heart. Metaphorically? Metaphorically, I assume. He carved through my chest yet with those words, causing me to completely lose control of myself. In a panicked frenzy, and probably screaming all the way, I knocked the man aside, and ran, and ran, and ran. Yet that doesn't seem like the reaction of someone who, had a consensual relationship. I could hear a clap of thunder in the distance. Oh, how I wished a bolt of lightning would come crashing down upon me. Maybe if God burned my tainted flesh with a divine thunderbolt, it would get rid of some of the filth. But the jagged streaks of light cascading across the dark clouds did not strike me. I mean, she could have done it if the father, like, offered her more money, but I don't know. Only creating restless grumbles in the sky. Ha, ha. Ha, ha. Ah. Nah. Why? I knew if I fled that mansion, I would likely be causing trouble for my mom and sister, but I was helpless to stop myself. All I could do was run from all that threatened me, with no regard for the consequences. Before long, small droplets of rain began falling, which soon grew heavy enough to penetrate the forest canopy and reach the ground where I stood. The downpour drowned out my tears and my cries. Because I had rushed from the mansion without even putting on a cloak, each cold winter droplet stung bitterly against my flesh. But the bite of the rain was like a warm embrace compared to what I'd been through before. Michelle had spoken the truth, as much as I wanted to deny it, to avert my eyes. Reality was forever engraved into this body. No, I don't want to think about it. But I had no say in the matter. Get out of my head! Yeah, I'm pretty sure, she didn't ask for that. Come over here, Giselle. Oh, no. Oh, no, we're going into the flashback of it happening. Oh, guys, okay. Well, I mean, I imagine this is not going to be good, so potential trigger warning. I have no idea what's about to happen, but I have a good idea. Okay, may I ask why you asked me here so late at night, Master? Oh, I just wanted to have a little chat. Care for some wine? Come closer and I'll pour you a glass. I had this wine imported from up north. They use very hard water and like it rather tart, so it leaves quite the lasting impression on your tongue. And yet it goes down so easily, you just can't seem to stop. What do you say? Have a sip. Or does your expertise as a trader allow you to evaluate a wine's quality without tasting it? No, but, please, Giselle, don't trample all over my good graces. Very well, then. I will have a sip, Master, but no more. Have you ever considered growing out your hair? Having long hair makes it difficult to do my job. You're not a merchant anymore, though, and as we noticed, as the maid, she had long hair. So maybe she reverted going back to what her original master told her to do. I don't know. You deserve to look like the woman you truly are. I have no doubt longer hair would accentuate your natural beauty. It's a gorgeous shade of black, so deep a man could get lost in it for years. It would contrast the color of your skin fabulously. Highlight your eyes, your cheekbones, your nape, your shoulders, and your chest. I should get going. Oh, but we're not done talking yet. I would not want a lack of sleep to interfere with my ability to work tomorrow. Thank you very much for the wine. It was delicious. Uh-oh. No need to be so cold-hearted now. From the moment I first laid eyes on you. Master, that's enough fooling around for one night. Now, don't be afraid. I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. I simply want to express my love. Let go of me. I only came here to work, nothing more. The first time I saw you, I thought it would be a tragic waste to leave you to wither away working at some little Oh, the music is just, like, getting more and more tense. Some little street-side shop. Stop. You can't tell me you didn't know a merchant girl had no place in a house like this, even as a servant. There's only one reason you would be allowed here. No, I swear, it never even crossed my mind. Haha, it would seem you're even more innocent than you look. But you figured it all out by now, haven't you? No, let go of me. Stop this. Keep your voice down. Do not shout, Giselle. If anyone were to find out about this, you would be the one shouldering the consequences, not me. But you're a maid, and I'm the master of the house. Whose word do you think holds more weight? Damn. Don't worry, I won't do anything to hurt you. I promise your family will be exceptionally well taken care of. Your mother will have the comfortable life you wanted for her. But you know what will happen if you raise a fuss and make a fool of yourself. Not only will your family not get any of our money, and not only will your sister not get to marry, you'll all spend the rest of your lives on the streets. How could you be so cruel? This is blackmail. Blackmail? For a merchant's daughter, you don't know much about trade, do you? Then let me give you a little lesson about market value. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap. Understand? Now let me see that beautiful body of yours. Damn. He was an older man, so I hadn't expected him to be very strong. But I couldn't break free of his grip, and I found myself entirely at his mercy. Beneath the gaudy outfits lay a hungry beast, and I was seeing the creature's true colors for the first time that day. The aging man ran his disgusting, slobbery tongue across my exposed skin. Everything he placed his hands upon withered away. Every piece of flesh he pressed his lips against putrefied. I guess that's like the, maybe that's where that curse came from, where it's like, you know, touches the skin and it just dissolves and just turns, like it dies. Rotted. Decayed, yeah, I think that's where she came up with that for the story. Rankled. I trembled in revulsion, at which the man laughed, seemingly interpreting it as something else. I want something so horrible to happen to this man, but because this is a tragic story, and nothing good ever seems to happen, I have a feeling he just got away with it scot-free. My question is, like, obviously the wife must have found out and sent her away. So that's probably it. Somehow, whether the maid told her or the wife found out and she just sent her away to kind of, like, protect the husband. I wondered what kind of place hell was. If hell's wardens only flayed and carved their prisoners, I would have preferred that instead. I would have rather been sliced into tiny little chunks and cast into the hellfire. I would have chosen eternal torment over being touched by this man another second. But I didn't get to choose my hell. Eventually the man forced open the gates I had been holding fast, and spread his festering death inside me. Listen to me, Giselle. It is in both of our best interests to keep this between the two of us. If you can do that, I'll continue to do good by you and your family. Oh, don't look at me like that, please. I'm thrilled to have you here in this house, Giselle. She has long since lost her mind, after all. It's torture just being in the same room. What, his wife? And my sons, they hardly ever come home. But you, Giselle, you give color to my dull life. You make it exciting once again. Now, go on back to your room. I'll be waiting here at the same time next week. Ugh. I mean, of course, I knew it wasn't just going to happen at once, but still. I couldn't escape from that man's grasp. Not when he used my family against me. Some weeks, I would just not go to his chambers. My one feeble means of resistance. But when I did that, he would send another Abigail to come find me the next day. I couldn't ignore his summons when he got other people involved. And then, when the two of us were alone, the mask would come off, and he would discipline me for not showing up before taking care of his usual business. On good days, he would leave bruises in inconspicuous places. My abdomen, my inner thighs. But he went so far as carving a word into my skin with a knife. Harlot. That was why I was afraid of knives. Yeah. That was why I was afraid of men shouting. I knew it. I knew with, like, the whole thing with, like, Michelle. I was like, her reaction was not normal. I wasn't even sure what to regret anymore. I was in far too deep. There was no turning back the clock. I even considered taking my own life on more than one occasion. But every time the thought crossed my mind, happy memories came with it. Back when it was just the three of us girls and the shop. Life may not have been easy, but it was never dull either. I didn't want to end my life at its absolute lowest point. I wanted, if just temporarily, to go back to the way things were back then. That objective was the only thing that allowed me to keep going. When I was in his presence, I tried to convince myself I was merely an object. I had no emotions, so he couldn't hurt me. I was merely a vessel, a construct of flesh and bones. His hands couldn't reach my heart, for it was not connected to my body. Doing that made it a little easier to bear, but the reality was, it was impossible to completely sever my heart from my body. Alright, Liddy, you're Giselle, aren't you? One day, the mistress of the estate stopped me in the halls. She had supposedly once been quite beautiful, but now she was only haggard and bony. Her skin dry, her eyes sunken, her hair faded and stripped of its luster, her head down, her cracked lips barely moving as she spoke. Age didn't appear to be the only thing working its merciless magic on her either. There seemed to be something eating away at her from the inside, too. Something that could burst at the lightest touch. Maybe she had some sort of, like, medieval disease or something, but they see it as, like, it's the curse. Yes, I am Giselle. Is there something I can do for you? The mistress rarely ever left her chambers. I had been told it had been years since she attended family supper. So what would bring her to come looking for someone like me? And you... what? I wasn't sure I wanted to know the answer. You're having relations with my husband, aren't you? You are, aren't you? Madam. Ah! You wretched creature. She was telling me the truth. One of my trusty maids caught a glimpse of you through a crack in the door. She saw you with him, you filthy rat. You seduced my husband. You devil, you conniving witch. You don't get it, do you? You don't realize how grievous your sin is, do you? Someone, anyone, restrain this girl. She's a demon, a devil. Tie her up and hand her to the clergy. No, that won't be enough. A witch. You have to burn her bones, scatter the ashes, or she'll come back to life, and that's the whole thing about the witch. Yes, execute her. Kill this woman. Burn the witch. Seize the piece she's stolen from me. She's not even fighting back, be like, okay, if it means that I don't have to be here anymore. Cursed. It's cursed. Ah, this house is cursed. Not only has it taken away my daughter, now it's trying to take away my husband. Oh, her daughter. Hold up. I don't think Michelle ever mentioned having a sister. The white-haired girl? Maybe that's it? Something happened. The white-haired girl is his sister? Something happened to her and maybe, like, they're sending the paintings of the sister to remind him of her? So the curse is taken, so maybe, yeah, the daughter died of, like, a curse or something, or a curse, like a disease or something. Oh God, please shine thy cleansing light upon this house. I knew it would be a waste of breath trying to talk to her. She was not of sound mind. There was madness in her eyes. Maybe there was no daughter. Maybe she's gone. Or maybe she went mad after the death of her daughter. I didn't even have to make a fuss about it. It happened all on its own. If there was no way around it, then I should have just done it myself after the first time. I didn't have the energy to argue with her, or to cry, or to shout. Before long, a crowd began to form around me and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch, and much to my surprise, he stepped in, with an embarrassed look on his face, to try and settle his wife down and convince her not to have me executed. Maybe he did have a heart after all, or maybe he just wanted to keep his plaything, or maybe he just wanted to save face. Regardless, instead of being burned at the stake, it was decided I'd be sent away to some remote forest. Okay, so it wasn't the wife who got her sent away, it was the husband. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, but it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She had returned to life after being executed, and now skulked around in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner. And so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. Poor Giselle, man. I can see why she's just like, yeah, there's no God. Nothing's fair in this world. I hope my mom and sister are alright. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. Just a silent coachman and a single sullied passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again. Ever cross the Grand Pont again. It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I had finally escaped from that house. I had finally escaped from that man. This sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything else I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living at the house where I was to reside. The Bullinger's youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he had been sent to the cursed mansion. Only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter made only a single request. That I look after him and do not ask any questions. So I'm not just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I look after whoever's at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family? I don't have much say in the matter either way, I suppose. The carriage rattled and shook as it traversed the stony path, and bouncing around inside it, I resolved to take back my life. The peace I had once known, the cheerfulness I had lost. And to do so, I would forget, and that's why the maid, she literally locked away her memories in the chambers by throwing that key into the painting. The paintings that were up all over the place, the paintings, I assume those were, right? Those are the ones that Michelle got from his family. He put away all up in the mansion. Ah, it's all coming together, man. I love it. Bury every terrible thing that had happened to me. Cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. And that's why she didn't want to remember, but hopefully now with Michelle here and telling Giselle to remember her memories, maybe they'll be able to find happiness now that they've come back together again. I have no idea who I'm going to find there, but they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me. I'll greet them with a smile, and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured since the both of us had been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common. And so, I would forget it all, and get my life back. Get my smile back. And that was everything that led up to me arriving at the mansion. All the wounds I never wanted to open again. I didn't want to think about that, and trying so hard to forget about it. I wanted to forget all about it. So why did you have to make me remember? All I did was believe that we could make things work. Why? How could you? God, I can't take it anymore. Once the memories had broken free, they all flooded back with perfect clarity. Exactly how he ran his hands across me. Exactly where he hit me, where he cut me. Like I was going through it again, this very moment. And of course, none of that stuff would end up in the letter. Michelle only heard his mother's side, which of course paints Giselle in the worst possible light. The rain was cooling me down on the outside, but so much nauseating heat had built up in my gut, I vomited all over the ground. I threw up, and I threw up, and I threw up, until there was nothing left but bile. And when I had nothing left to expel, the strength evacuated from my knees, and I collapsed. I didn't know if everything was blurry because of the rain, or because my eyes had decided they were done looking at anything. The whole world twisted before me. Michelle's no different. My attempts to get close to him, to always keep a smile on, it was all a waste. The look in his eyes was terrifying, like he didn't believe in anything at all. So he probably wouldn't have believed me, if I had told him the truth. He's convinced I have an ulterior motive. There's probably no changing his mind. Such a cold rain. I lie down here and go to sleep. I wonder if all the warmth will eventually drain from my body. And then I'll decompose and become part of the earth. You know, that might actually be nice. I'd like that. I always thought I didn't want to die, that I wanted to go back to the way things were. But who cares anymore? I did my best after all, and that still got me nowhere. Cheerful Giselle was all just a farce. And when I'm dead, all my worry for my mom and sister will fade away with me. Oh God, I doubt you have a place for me on high. I am, after all, an unclean woman, and I've given up on living altogether. But even if I can't get into heaven, that's okay. I want release. The rain pitter-pattered down through the leaves overhead, chilling my skin. The cold spread through my flesh and into my bones. My heart and lungs and stomach freezing me like a block of ice. My consciousness drifted away from me, and the world slipped through my fingers. More than fear, I felt relief. But of course, that won't be the end. Utter black. Maybe Michelle will come find her and bring her back. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. I am even now putting her through a harrowing experience, digging up the memory she locked away, the past she wanted to pretend never happened, and laying it all out before her once more. But I must get her back to who she once was, even if it means forcing her to endure this. She must remember everything. Like, what is the grand goal of all this? What does her remembering, does that release them from the mansion? Perhaps? Because I need to know. Why did she become the maid? And what secrets does this house hold? You're... Michelle. Yes, my name is Michelle. I am not the white-haired girl. I thought that that was already implied, but okay. The person you were searching for was the man who once hurt you deeply. Me. Is she just like, is it because they look similar that she thought? Like, how could she mix them up? Yes, they have the white hair and everything, but I'm just like, how could she get that mixed up? Sorry, my my throat is a little... Why? What was her why referring to? Why I hurt her? Or why I'm here? Or perhaps, why I didn't show up until now? Not having an answer for her, I clench her cold hands in mine. I wonder, were her hands this cold that night too? There's still more we need to see, though. And it's still too soon for me to apologize. When she's gotten everything back, only then can I. Once she's reclaimed herself. This is what I must tell her. Now, let us return to our past. Our story has only just begun. No matter what we thought or what we desired. No matter what we lost or how much pain we suffered. We must not shut this door. Perfect darkness embraces us once more. I can see nothing, not even the woman beside me. But I shall not let go of her hand. Oh, now he's the one taking her by the hand. I do not want her to slip away from me. I do not want to lose her. Hey, stay with me. Are you alright? Ah. Oh, thank goodness, you're awake. How's your head? Can you see me? What? You had me scared silly there. I thought I might have lost you for good. I'm really glad you're alive. Where am I? And who is this man? Oh, is this the guy who, is looking after Michelle? What was I doing? You feeling up for any food? I can whip up some porridge for you right quick. Oh, I was in the forest. It was raining. Before that, I was at the mansion. I feel sick, like there's still something in my stomach. No, thank you. I don't want anything. You really should have something. You need to keep up your energy. Unless you want to conk out again in an hour. It sounds good to me. I'd rather never wake up at all. You're not in the highest of spirits either, it seems. All the more reason to get something warm in you. Please, have something. I've got some milk on the fire. I bet you can handle a cup of that. Hot milk. Ooh. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of milk and some porridge, but you start losing all hope once the cold gets that deep in you, reaches down to your core. Take me at my word, please. Just one sip. You'll feel like a whole new gal. A heart-wrenchingly pleasant aroma wafted up with the steam from within the wooden cup. Succumbing to the sweet smell, I lifted the cup to my lips for just one sip, and the warmth that spread through me brought tears to my eyes. Perhaps there really was kindness in the world. A ripple spread across the surface of the milk. I heard a gentle sigh come from the man beside me, after which he said with a smile, "You should take it easy for the day." I had lost the willpower to think about anything. I didn't care what had happened to me, or why I was here, who he was, or even where this was. I spent the whole day in bed, just watching the sun slowly slide across the wooden floor. It felt like I was somewhere far, far away. At times I felt like a lost child, and at times like a sickly old woman on her deathbed. Watching the sun travel gave me a renewed awareness of the passage of time, and of the fact that each moment that went by was another moment I was alive. I realized then that it had been a while since I had gotten more than a brief glimpse at any sunlight. It almost surprised me how colorful the world seemed beneath the sun's light, something I didn't get much of in the dark mansion. Only after losing something do you realize how much you need it. Warm milk, the light shining through the window, and a bed that smelled like springtime. With those three things, my heart slowly began to defrost, and I started to regain the willpower to stand on my own 2 feet. Let's hope this guy is a good guy, no ulterior motives. She needs that. Thank you for everything. Are you sure you're in any shape to be on your feet? Yes, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. You looked pretty beat up to me. But you look a lot better now, and you're talking a lot more clearly than before. You've been very generous despite having never met me before, and for that you have my deepest gratitude. Without your help, I would no longer be in this world. I don't deserve your thanks. You are alive now because God's guidance made it so. God, I came across you early this morning as I was heading into the forest to hunt. Imagine my surprise seeing a young lady like you on the ground in my path. What were you doing in the forest? Ah, you don't have to tell me if you'd rather not. Everyone's got their own share of personal problems. You're not going to demand I talk? I have no reason to force you to do anything. You looked like you'd been to hell and back. What? I could tell just by looking at you. Now then, do you have somewhere you can go? Somewhere to go? Of course I don't. I can't go back to the capital, or the mansion. If not, then why don't you stay here? Here? Sure, it's a small village. We're self-sufficient, and we all help each other out. No tax-hungry lords know we built the place up either, so we keep everything we make. We're pretty remote as a result, and the harvest isn't fantastic. But I'm sure you'll find it comfortable here. The rest of the villagers would be glad to have you. She's like, this seems too good to be true. What do you say? Sorry, Mom. What I'm about to do might make the rest of the family's lives more difficult, but I don't want to have to feel any more pain. I really wouldn't be inconveniencing you. If it's really okay, then yes, I would like to stay here. That's great to hear. I was loath to send you back out there in your current condition. I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? The name's, Amide, just one lowly villager of many. I'm Giselle. Giselle, that's a beautiful name. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a vacant house. Clean it up and you can call it home. I couldn't possibly ask for that. I doubt others would like it if I just took a house for myself. That shouldn't be an issue. I'm the village's representative, more or less. Representative? Like the chief? Only in name, though. As I mentioned, we're not on any lord's maps, so I don't have much representing to do. The only reason I ended up in charge is because I'm a bit more educated than anyone else. It was a long time ago, but I understudied with a priest. Because of that, I'm familiar with the Bible's teachings. So rather than a chief, the people of the village look at me more like a priest. It wouldn't be much fun if the church found out about that. They're liable to think I'm acting unordained. Then you believe in God? That's quite the question. Of course God exists. He's always watching over us. That's why you survived, because he protected you. And then she's just like, I don't know about that. And then he's like, burn the witch, burn the witch. I understand your faith can waver when you're going through times of tribulation, but those are the times when it's most important you keep sight of who you are. Right. Now you get some rest. Tomorrow I'll show you around the village. Thank you. I truly mean it. I really, sincerely appreciate everything. Don't mention it, Giselle. This is your village now too, so you don't need to act like a stranger anymore. Okay. This almost feels like a part of her flowery story with the white-haired girl where she's like, this seems like just as she was saying about how, like, you know, oh God, you know, please help me, and then she ends up here. So he's Amide. He seems like a nice man. Maybe here, I can live in peace. It'll be alright, I'm sure. Famous last words. I have a bad feeling. Yeah. I wasn't silly enough to believe my life would be perfect, but I found a tiny fragment of my lost hope. While I had once been ready to give up on absolutely everything, I was starting to feel like I might be able to smile again, eventually. Like I might be able to get back on my feet. And in order to do that, I had to cast aside my past once more. Forget everything that had happened at the Bullinger estate, and everything that had happened at that mansion. Forget about Michelle. There was one niggling curiosity, though, that I couldn't shake. Something he had said before I left. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bullinger family. Michelle, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead. Oh, yes, that's right. I thought that was strange, but is very much alive. Because the thing is, if he's supposed to be dead, why are they sending him packages every month, you know? What had he meant by that? Why would people think he was dead? No, I don't care about Michelle one bit. Forget it. Forget everything. The house was, as it had always been, wrapped in a thick silence. Giselle's shadow, which had been lurking in the halls for about a month, were nowhere to be found. Oh, now is he gonna miss her, after mistreating her? She hadn't come back since running off that day. My secret was still safe. Her efforts had, in the end, all been for naught. Back to the way things were. But despite my mind telling me it was for the best, I felt a kind of guilt seething in the back of my chest, and any attempts to figure out why only made me feel worse. But the look on her face then... Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around, or trying to bring you harm in any way. Was that really just her putting on an act because I revealed her scheming? She was screaming, though, and she looked genuinely terrified when she knocked my hand away. I'm not falling for anything. I feel like I know that frenzied panic. Something doesn't add up. Maybe he got abused by his family, too? Be quiet. Silence, please. Okay, now he's talking to himself. My head was pounding beyond belief. I couldn't stand anything. This world, the creature I was, the witches whispering. The archangel looking down upon me seemed to be cackling from somewhere far out of reach. So, for whatever it was worth, to escape from his gaze, I once again drew the drapes over the stained glass window. Whoa, it's someone new. Hey, where'd you come from? You gonna be here long? Are you? We hardly ever get visitors here, so they're downright awestruck by you. You'll be getting a lot of attention for a little, but please don't let it get to you. No, that's just fine. I'll do my best to get along with everyone. You got a spark in you that wasn't there yesterday. Anything in particular that cheered you up? In particular? Once I decided I was going to stay here, I just sort of started to feel better about things. And I figured I couldn't stay gloomy forever. I see. Glad to hear it. Hee. And it's all thanks to you, Amide. Keep thanking me like that, and my cheeks might get stuck red. In any event, I said I'd show you around yesterday, so how about we do that? Lead the way. That said, we're a modest little village of about 100. Everyone knows everyone. For that size, it looks pretty big to me. Amide taking the lead, we walked through the village, passing by crop fields and milk cows, presumably shared among the villagers. Houses were scattered across an area that seemed far too large for only 100 people. Actually, getting a better look at them, the buildings were dilapidated, looking more like ruins than residences. Once upon a time, this was a city rather than a village. When your ancestors lived here? Oh, no, we were drifters fortunate enough to come across some decent-looking land, so we stuck around. How do you know what it was like before then? There were a few stone tablets left behind. and based on what we were able to extract from their texts, this area used to be a large city with a booming economy rivaling that of the capital. There weren't hundreds, but thousands of people bustling about. Merchants from afar came in droves. It was much like how the capital is now. Actually, this area was more open to foreigners. People of all different races, speaking as many different languages. It was evidently quite the sight. And sound. I had no idea there was a city here. Maybe like, I don't know, the tax people or whatever who are in charge of, like, collecting from people. Maybe they don't come here because of, I don't know, maybe this whole area is cursed by the witch or something, so it keeps people away. That's what happens when a place is wiped from history. I couldn't tell you how reliable the tablets are, but if you take them at their word, the city lost everything in just a single week. What? People, crops, livestock, all dead. Oh yes, they probably blamed a witch for it. Maybe it was natural disaster, a famine, a plague. I can't say for sure. And this is maybe where Giselle got that story for the white-haired girl. Because she said about how, like, she lived in a village and, like, the crops failed and stuff and they blamed her for it. This is what the tablet said, though. Ooh, we have been cursed by the witch. Cursed by the witch. Look over there. You see that river? There used to be a magnificent bridge crossing it, but there's hardly anything left of it. If you continue along the path beyond that fallen bridge, there's a forest. That's where I found you. The deeper parts of the forest are so dense you can't see anything but tree trunks and leaves. It's an eerie place wrapped in a cloud of darkness. You make it through that, there's a mansion, which is said to be cursed. The witch who supposedly destroyed the city lives in the town deep in the forest. She's been there for years and years and years, and she casts her curse on anyone who goes near it. The city was so large the mansion was actually in its borders. My guess is the bridge was built to mark the road leading to it. Now, as you can see, the bridge is gone and the houses still standing are practically in ruins. But the mansion alone looks just as it did back then. The witch living in the mansion goes by the name Morgana. According to the records, someone by that same name was executed in this area for witchcraft. And even in death, she continues to bear her grudge against mankind. Maybe they'll find out that Giselle came from the mansion and cast her out because they'll be like, if you were in the mansion, that means you're cursed and we can't let you stay here. Who knows how much of it is true, though. Truth or fiction, the story has taken root in this region. The city's history may be lost, but the legend of the witch continues to be told. People have a tendency to keep stories alive that scare them. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. No, I'm fine. You're best staying away from that mansion in the forest at any rate. There's no saying what might happen if curiosity gets the better of you. Better safe than sorry, if you ask me. Aside from the mansion, this is as peaceful a village as you'll find. I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you didn't end up wandering up there. I know all about the mansion and who lives there. I was there, after all, with Michelle for a full month. But I don't remember any cursed witch. Just a man with a bone-chilling glare. Maybe the rumors about a witch living there were spread by him, or perhaps even his family. I could see them doing that, but none of that matters to me anymore. I'm never going anywhere near that house again. The witch's curse, Michelle, they're nothing to me. With nowhere else to go, I ended up in this small village. There was no denying it, there was very little to speak of here. But I found peace in that, nonetheless. Or nothing, not nonetheless, nothingness. I couldn't have been more blessed that such a kind man had found me and welcomed me into his village. The village ran entirely on its own crops and livestock. They had no currency, merely bartered amongst themselves. Coming from a merchant's family, everything felt so new. I'd never plowed a large plot of land, milked a cow, or used a loom before. At first I wasn't sure what to think, being such a departure from my lifestyle in the capital. But over time, I grew more comfortable with my new life, and the people of the village started thinking me as one of them. Come on, Giselle, come play with us. We're playing hide and seek today. I can't, sorry, I'm spinning yarn. You can do that later. Come on, play with us. Ah, stop that, don't pull on my skirt. Oh, alright, you win. When I'm done with this, I'll join you. And no ditching. We'll be down at the square, okay? I got it. See you there. Ah, the kids have taken quite a liking to you. Ah, Amide. You think so? They've been incredibly lively since you arrived. Children are more sensitive than adults. Sensitive? They're very perceptive of how others are feeling. If you begrudgingly play along, they'll pick up on that quickly. You like children, and that's a wonderful thing. There's not a good woman in the world who dislikes children. Why, thank you. I don't think it's so much that I like them, as I'm kind of like a big kid myself. I genuinely enjoy hide and seek, but that's not going to earn me any points. I like kids too. Watching them, it gives me faith that this world has a bright future. A bright future. I'd never looked at them that way. They seem to like you quite a bit too, Amide. Thanks. Though I'd rather give my affection to my own kids. Oh, you have children? Oh, heavens no. I thought that was obvious enough. I'm talking about the future. Oh no, don't be like, hey, you want to make kids with me? I see. But knowing you, Amide, I'm sure you'll find someone right for you and have kids of your own in no time. It's not that easy, sadly. Even in such a small village. Oh no, Amide, no, man. Please no. There are no ladies who would take interest in me. You don't give yourself enough credit. I'm fully confident you'll find someone soon enough. Do you really think so? Absolutely. Then perhaps you could be that person. As long as you, if she turns you down, accept it. Don't be weird about it. Then you'll be okay. It doesn't hurt to shoot your shot, but, accept the answer graciously. What? Pardon? I won't pressure you into it, of course, but I think it would be marvelous to have you in my life in a bigger way. But it's a little soon for me to think about settling down like that. It is pretty sudden, I admit. Take all the time you need to consider it. All right, well, there we go. As long as he stops it there, he's cool with me. I have to go play with the kids now. Have fun. I wonder if he really meant it. Amide is a nice fellow, and I'm sure living here would be wonderful, but I can't help feeling something isn't right here. I thought the same thing. As soon as I'm like, this seems off. Then again, everything about this game has been off. Whenever there's a shred of peace or happiness, I'm like, what's gonna happen to ruin it? Why am I thinking about him now of all times? That man has no redeemable qualities. Not one. As it turned out, Amide was serious about his proposition, and he brought it up every time we ran into each other. Unable to give him an answer, I found myself constantly apologizing to him. Soon, winter started giving way to spring. On a day when the air still had a brisk winter bite, and budding seedlings battled to break through the earth, the seams holding the village together began to come loose. Here we go. That day, the village men were gathered in the square talking. They all had stern looks on their faces. It was clear something had happened. I obviously couldn't stick my head in, so I waited until they were done and caught Amide. While it was rather awkward, I was still more comfortable asking him for information than anyone else. Actually, with a dejected look on his face, he started explaining. A lord found out about this village. What? And he said he's going to place this land under his rule, meaning he'll start collecting taxes. In addition, he's also demanding we pay 5 years' worth of back taxes for our unauthorized use of the land. What? That's ridiculous. Yes, it most certainly is. Oh no, I'm wondering if someone tracked Giselle down, found her in the village, and that's how they discovered the village, so maybe she'll feel like she was the cause of this, or maybe they'll find out that she led the lords here. We obviously don't have the means to pay 5 years' taxes. There's no reason for him to take over this village at all. We're completely isolated from the surrounding area, after all. But if we resist, he could send soldiers. It doesn't matter how absurd his claim to the village is. We have no choice but to comply. That's terrible. What are we going to do then? We're going to do as the Lord demands. The 5 years' taxes will have to be paid in installments. Some of the men suggested we abandon the land and find somewhere else, but it would take time to cultivate the land and plant new crops. It's no trivial task. We'll just have to make do with these changes. We'll use more of the land to grow and try to be more efficient. Will you help in the fields? Of course. This village is my home now, too. Thank you, Giselle. It will be difficult, but if we all pitch in, I'm sure we can get through this. I thought the same thing. If we all worked together, we could make it through this rough patch. But the collection of taxes brought more than just a burden for everyone to share. It brought emotional strain and conflict to the village, too. Your family has more hands to work the field. I have a sickly child. You expect him to work any harder than he is? I know you're hiding grain in your cellar. You have more than us. Let us keep a little grain. You have more. No, you have more. You both have more than us. When their comfortable lives fell under attack, the villagers' top priority became their own property. The cooperation was only temporary, and before long, everyone became a threat. The negative energy only built on itself, its growth accelerating like a boulder rolling down a hill. And it wasn't long before their sights fell on me, the outsider. Come on, get moving. Ow, stop that. Poor Giselle. I knew it, like she wasn't going to be happy for long. Why are you doing this? I'll stop once you've told us everything. Told you every what? One morning, a man dragged me from my house and took me to the square. There, the entire rest of the village was gathered, all eyes on me. Oh, maybe this, like, they think, like, she's the witch. Ever since she showed up, like, all this happened. They had their nice, peaceful life. Until she came. What's this about? Oh, don't play stupid. We all know it was you. What was me? The thief. Oh, Amide? From the crowd appeared someone I knew quite well. The ever-affable village representative. The man who had saved my life. But in his eyes now, I thought you were better than that. It was contempt, anger, scorn. So many different shades of negativity. I recognized what I saw in his glare immediately, as someone who had been subjected to those looks before. But why? For what reason was he looking at me like that? I couldn't make sense of what was happening, so I just stood there stupefied. There's been a rise in reports of people having things stolen lately. This village is too small to attract bandits, though. Since the Lord now demands we pay him taxes, even the smallest item lost can have a dramatic impact on a family's living conditions. What you've done is no joke. Wait, just a second. I haven't stolen anything. Why do you think You have been seen in the act. What? So long as there's testimony against you, your guilt is assured. Aw, shit, because she's the outsider and someone's just pinning the blame on her. Who says they saw me? I swear, I didn't do anything. They're obviously lying. You're the one who's lying. You've been playing us for fools this whole time. Everything was fine until you showed up. We managed not to get found until you showed up. No, that's not my fault. Giselle, apologize to the village and return what you've taken. Amide, don't you believe me? There were multiple witnesses. Several different people saw you stealing. I've known these people long enough to be family, and I trust them like family too. They're not liars. But no, they're framing me. I didn't steal anything, I swear. Framing you? Now you want to put this on us, woman? Unbelievable. Have you forgotten we welcomed you into our village? Amide, please believe me. Maybe deep down he's like, well, maybe if you had, considered our relationship a little bit more, I'd be protecting you. You of all people should believe me. You've been avoiding me of late, haven't you? What? Because you had something to hide, correct? No, What other reason could you have to avoid me? Why? How could he say these things? Why won't he believe me? I wonder if he truly believes this, or if he's just, like, salty that she won't be with him. Now return the things you've stolen. I can't. I never stole anything. How am I supposed to return something I don't have? I see. So you've already moved the stolen goods. She said she doesn't have them anymore, folks. How should we deal with this? Rough her up till she talks. Yeah, she's not getting off that easy. Give us back our property. Why is this happening to me? The harsh new rulership has driven these people mad. I need to get away from this village quick. Restrain her! No, get your hands off me. Have you forgotten everything we've done for you? All that matters is that you don't have to suffer. Is that it? I didn't do anything. Take her to my house. We'll make her tell us everything. No, stop. You've all gone mad. Please, come to your senses. This girl just can't win. With men on all four sides of me, I was dragged into Amide's house. He sat coolly in a chair, and they shoved me to my knees before him. I'll ask you this one more time, Giselle. Where did you put the things you stole? And I'll keep giving you the same answer. I didn't take anything from anyone. Please believe me. Do you swear, with God as your witness? I do. I swear with all my heart. You don't actually believe her, do you, Amide? She not only sold us out to a lord, she's now threatening to make our lives downright impossible. Again, that's just a coincidence. Listen to me, Amide. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the woman hath committed 3 sins. She has lied, she has stolen, she has betrayed her fellow man. Why are you doing this, Amide? You were such a good man. I am deeply disappointed in you, Giselle. As much as I don't want to do this, I have to get the truth from you. Amide. Of course, why didn't I see it? I'm still just an outsider to them. Why would he believe a stranger's word over the word of the village, his family? The water. What? A man set a wooden well bucket on the floor in front of me. Are they gonna, like, drown her? Are they gonna waterboard her? In it wasn't clean water from the well, but grimy, murky wastewater. I reflexively turned my head from the stench, but a man behind me grabbed me by the hair, and before I had a chance to realize what was happening, the world around me went brown. Ugh! I struggled with all my might to break free, but my arms were tied behind my back, and I didn't have the strength to overpower the man holding my head down. Reflexively gasping for air, a stream of filthy water poured into my mouth. Pull her out. We get nothing if she dies. Ugh. Cough, cough. Put her back in, and keep at it until she decides she's ready to talk. No. How unsightly. And to think I ever considered marrying this woman. Stop. We can stop whenever you want, Giselle. You just have to tell us the truth. Please. Help. Stop. I was given no time to rest. My head shoved into the bucket, then pulled out just long enough for me to steal a breath before going back in, over and over again. Not a person in that room objected to the abuse I was receiving. I had prayed for a good harvest with these people. They had taught me how to use a loom, something I'd never touched before. We had laughed together, lived together. They were normal people. Perfectly ordinary, kind, helpful, friendly people. Not at all cruel or inhumane. But now they burned with a frenzy that overshadowed all my memories of them. And every gargle, gasp, and grunt they got from me fueled that fire. Dozens of eyes laced with madness stared down upon me, rejoicing at my suffering. My consciousness was slipping away from me. I thought I could hear laughing and chattering, but it all passed through my ears as mere noise, nothing I could make sense of. Stay with me. Amide. Oh, thank goodness you're awake. Wait, what? Is she flashing back to, like, when she first arrived? Wait, what was I just doing? Right, I was in the forest, on the verge of death, and Amide found me, and we almost lost valuable manpower there. Oh, nope, never mind. We were just discussing what to do about you, Giselle, and we decided to make you village property. Oh, no, he didn't save me. It's like I picked the wrong choice in like a like a visual novel where you get more choices, and I'm just like, whoops. If you agree to work for us, we'll put this whole nasty mess behind us. It's like she's just there to just be property and to work for people. That's like her only... That's her only goal in life. Or not goal in life, she doesn't want this, but like that seems to be like what she was made to do. You may be worthless in the fields and terrible with a loom, but there's plenty you can help with. Probably prostitution, I'm guessing. What are you going to make me do, although... You like to get your hands dirty. And considering I found you half dead in the forest, I doubt the rest of you is any cleaner. Oh shit, they're probably gonna rip her clothes off and they're gonna find the harlot thing that was cut into her body and they'll be like, oh, well there we go, that proves it. Amide, it seems we've come to an agreement. I'll keep watch over her starting today, to make sure she stays in line and doesn't steal anything else. Dirty, stays in line. The way they're looking at me. They didn't have to spell it out. No, anything but that. Please, have mercy. If you're begging for mercy, that means you know you've done something wrong. Let's see, there is one way, Giselle. What? Give back what you stole, naturally. But if you're going to insist that's not possible, then bring us something of equal value. And if you can't do that, then your life belongs to the village. The men were cackling. They knew I couldn't do it, and they were enjoying watching me squirm. Take your pick, Giselle. Something of equal value. If I can get that, then you'll set me free? In that moment, a little bit of darkness bubbled up in my heart. Something malfeasant whispered in my ear. If you're in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. Oh shit, she's gonna lead them. She's gonna lead them to the mansion. There's a village not far from here. Trade it for food, then make your way to a larger town. I think I know where you can get something worth some money. The mansion in the forest has some fairly valuable furniture in it. Ah, oh god, when did I become? You can steal some of that to sell for good money. Such a despicable woman. You mean the cursed mansion? You expect us to go there? Are you out of your mind? Anyone who goes near that house is killed by the witch's curse. There is no witch living there. There's no curse. Giselle, what do you know about that mansion? I lived there for a while. Well, for a month. You what? The son of a noble lives there. He's human, and he's alone. A noble? What's a noble boy doing this far from the city? I presume he was banished there. I was sent to the mansion from the capital to act as his servant. There was plenty of value in the house. Shelves lined with books. There should be more than enough to pay the lord 5 years' worth of taxes. Is what you're saying true? I would not lie. As bewilderment spread through Amide's house, I was unable to look at anything but the floor. I couldn't stop trembling. To protect myself, I had sold out Michelle. You swear there's just a single man living in that house? Yes, it's only him. All right, if it turns out you're lying, you'll pay. Okay, everyone, you heard her. Tell all the young men to get ready. We're going up to that mansion in the forest. And just to be safe, make sure everyone brings something they can use as a weapon. And you, Giselle, you're coming with us. You'll be leading the way. Listen to me. Don't think about trying to run. Right. Okay, and that's how, like, the villagers, they ended up, you know, in her previous story, they ended up at the mansion, but in this one, she led them to them. Whereas before, it was Michelle attacking that guy, and he ran off to the village saying that, like, the witch got him. On the cusp of springtime, I found myself trekking through the dreary forest I had thought I would never set foot in again. How had I ended up here? How come I could never manage to avoid getting myself in these situations? And who would have guessed that my reason for returning to the mansion would be to loot it? I prayed for God to show even a little mercy and ensure Michelle wasn't around, though I knew the chances of that happening were almost zero. After several hours of walking, we broke through the thick woods, and the mansion appeared before us. Like its surroundings, the house was bleak and uninviting. Even the midday sun seemed disinterested in shining its light upon it. Despite, on the surface, there being nothing much of anything impressive about it, the entire mob stood speechless before its overwhelming presence. But the men had weapons, and they were fueled by avarice, which gave them the courage to approach this place they wouldn't normally otherwise. Door won't open. I think it's barred from the inside. It would seem someone really does live in this cursed place. I am honestly surprised. Even more so, it's not a witch, but just a noble. Door's old. We could break it down. Yeah, let's bust it down. Hold on, there's no need to be barbaric. Did you even consider knocking on the door like normal people? You sound like a band of thieves. Ah, that's something else coming from you. Who do you think proposed this plan, Giselle? You! Alright, men, you ready for lives of luxury? Break down that door. Stop it! It's the damn nobles who make our lives so hard. They deserve to be robbed. Break it. Break down the door. Please stop this. Break it down. Break it down. Break it down. Stop. All their repressed emotions detonated. They battered the door again and again and again, and in a few minutes' time, it was on the verge of collapse. They shouted and cheered and hooted like madmen, as my peaceful life came crumbling down upon me. Growing lightheaded from the anxiety, I squeezed my eyes shut, unable to bear it any longer, when the deep groan of a door opening echoed through the forest. It would seem you are not aware whose house you're trying to break into. The world went silent, like time had come to a stop. No one could manage to say a word. Only stare at the man who had appeared from within the mansion. Surely you know what this place is called. Beneath the dazzling midday sun, he had bone-chillingly alabaster skin and long, nearly translucently pale hair. So surely you came prepared for whatever you would find. And his eyes were like two blazing infernos staring out across the mob. A demon, someone muttered, probably unconsciously. He did indeed look like something not of this world. Ah, it's a demon. The rumors about this place were true. A cursed demon lives here. Demon? Him? Michelle? No, he's not cursed. Indeed, I am cursed. The witch's curse is real. I have inherited it in its entirety, as well as her purpose. A witch, a demon, a spirit impure. Call me whatever you wish. For the truth shall not change. I carry within me an eternal curse. Behold my flesh, pale as the moon. No red blood flows beneath this skin, as it does yours. Behold my hair, utterly devoid of color. He's just it's albinism, apparently, in this. It's just is considered cursed. I bet that's all it is. He's probably just albino. Offered up to the devil as part of our pact. Behold these crimson eyes, a symbol of the lifeblood spilt at my hands. Ah, I shall bring calamity upon you as witch of legend. Never-ending famine, plague, catastrophe, suffering for generations. Until the moment of your deaths, you shall regret ever coming near this place. No, have mercy. We were just... It was that woman. She brought us here, tempted us with promises of wealth. Deceived us, told us to village this house. We're innocent. Amide, please have mercy on us. Give her to me, then, as an offering. Absolutely, she's yours. Torture her however you please. I have one more condition. You never come near this house again. If you so much as consider it, you will all die by my curse. I swear it, we won't return. Run, get out of here. I think this is Michelle. He's protecting her. He's basically, this is his way of being like, I'll let you back into the house because maybe I realized I was a little bit harsh with you. Without so much as a glance back, the villagers scrambled into the night, and Amide, the man who had rescued me that night, went right along with them. Is there kindness in the world? I wasn't sure what to think anymore. Don't think I'm helping you. His voice rained down upon me, but I couldn't lift up my head. There was such a gaping void in my chest. I had no idea what questions I should be asking anymore. What I should be angry about. What I should be sad about. Not even the first clue. Look at me. Look at me, Giselle. Tell me, is it true you returned to the mansion to plunder it? That you brought these men here to rob me of my valuables? Answer me, Giselle. Yes, it's true. I persuaded them to steal from you. Are you really so desperate for money that you resort to looting? Hey, you're the one who told her at the beginning that she could do that. Just how low will you go? Not only did you seduce my father, not only did you go digging around for information about me, you brought a mob to this house. And they were armed, too. Were you trying to get me killed? Answer me, Giselle. Not even going to defend yourself. Your scheme failed, so you're retreating into silence? For God's sake, you sicken me. I'm done with you. I'm done. Leave this place, and never show your face here again. As he shouted at me, and I stared into his fiery red eyes. A somewhat inappropriate thought crossed my mind. Damn, he hot! Huh, so he can get emotional like anyone else. And my heart, stripped raw and cast out to sea, finally sunk deep enough to be crushed by the pressure. Me. Is she gonna, like, spill out the beans to everything? Like, what? If you want me gone, then kill me. You can do that, can't you? You can use your curse to kill me, can't you? Then do it, right here. Use your power. Take my life. And if you don't want to do that, stab me with your knife. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. What? I'm done. I can't take it. I'm through with this whole world. No one will believe anything I say. No one cares one bit about how I feel. They just walk all over me, laughing. Why? Tell me why. Why is this happening to me? I never stole anything. What? What are you talking about? I tried my best to look happy. I thought everything would work out if I could keep smiling. I believed that would make things better. But nothing ever got better. What did I ever do? Tell me, what did I do? But you... All I ever did was believe. Tried my best to survive, to always wear a smile. But if everything's going to be my fault, and I have to deal with that for the rest of my life, then I'm done. I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to live in this world anymore. Calm down, please. I don't follow what you're saying. My understanding is that you desired money, so you brought that mob. And before that, you used my father. You wouldn't believe me even if I told you the real story. You'll take your family's word over mine. You don't have any idea what I went through there. How hard it was just to keep myself together. I mean, he's been cast out by his family. I don't imagine he's got the best relationship with his family. Maybe he will understand. I never wanted riches. All I wanted was a decent enough wage to allow my family to live comfortably. That's all I wanted. But that man, he used my family against me. He made me... forced me to... He raped me. What? Again and again, no matter how much I resisted, he wouldn't stop. Again and again. He threatened me. He beat me, cut me with a knife. Over and over and over again. What? My father? Raped you? No one would believe me. I did nothing wrong. You don't believe me either, do you? So I'm done. I don't want this body anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't take it anymore. Help me, please. Set me free. Kill me. Kill me already. Use your curse and kill me. Kill me! Give me a moment. I need time to process this. You can do it, can't you? Then kill me already. Kill me. Kill me now. Kill me, damn it. Give me time so we can talk this through. I want to hear everything, from the beginning. Ah! Inside. Let's go inside and talk. The light hurts my eyes. Damn, that was intense. Woo! That was a door. I might have best let stay shut. Not knowing the truth would have been so much easier. It wouldn't have been made to shudder in disgust, hearing about the crimes of my own family. But if I hadn't opened that door, I would have lost everything. That day, after far too long, I finally let myself see the person in Giselle. Alright guys, so that will do it for this episode. This was heavy. Dealt with a lot of dark content. Learning Giselle's her transgression at the mansion, although it it was just really sad that she told Michelle that she made a mistake and that was not on her. She didn't choose for that. Her backstory, how she ended up there. Um, so it's all out in the open now, and it just seems like she just can't. She just has no good luck. Even when it seems like she's found some peace, gets ripped away from her, and she just sees the true monsters in humanity. Just people turning into basically feral beasts. People that she thought she could trust turning against her. But on the positive side, at least by exposing everything, Michelle seems to be willing to listen to her, and maybe this will be the turning point for them where their love story can begin. But of course, we know that it will end in tragedy like it always seems to in this game. And with Michelle, his curse, a little bit more vague than Giselle. She put it all out there what happened to her. But with Michelle, it's I feel like there's a lot of hints. Maybe I'm a dummy. I'm not like making the connections, like what the curse is and why he was sent away. But I'm excited to learn more about it. This was a really good episode, and I'm excited to see where the story is going to take us next. I thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye.
Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Nana, Kaori Mikoto, Revealing Storm, Tequila Mockingbird, Jared Fan, Izzy Ibo, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Icognito, Locus Carolus, Matt Goldsmith, and Wu Sing Chrysalis.